Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Including our Torahs. No. We do not have a minion right now, which is fine. So there are some prayers that we won't be able to do, but we are together, and that is what is most important. We showing up, whether or not you pray, just being together on a weekly basis can be part of a deep rhythm of recognizing that regardless of whatever is going on outside these walls, we are a spiritual community supporting one another and loving one another into the people we want to be. We are entering into the 8th day of the Hebrew month of Cheshvan. This is every Jewish professional's favorite month because it is the only month of the Jewish calendar that only has a single type of holiday in it, Shabbat. So, so there is some light in this week. Obviously, we have been going through a lot. We are in Parashat Lech Lecha, which is when God gives the commandment to Avram and Sarai to go forth to Canaan from their homes, to seek their future where they have never been before, leaving all that they knew behind. And so that is happening this week as well. We will begin with Shalom Aleichem, welcoming the angels to join with us in our prayers. I really do mean, I know it's not the people in this room right now, but I'm putting out there my prayer that more of our fellow members will come and join us, even if they bring a book or a newspaper or anything else to read, because just being together in the same space once a week is the most important part of what we are doing here. Shalom Aleichem is on page 142. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Borchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We begin by welcoming in the Sabbath by lighting our Shabbat candles. And can I ask that Patty Stein, our beloved Ritual Practices Committee Chair, come and light our candles for us? The prayer can be found on page 120, and the Kavanah beforehand can be found on page 121.
Thank you. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'echad likner shel Shabbat. Amen.
Yasher koach.
Thank you.
And we have a second way of welcoming in the Sabbath, and that is to consecrate wine and drink it. And so we call upon our beloved member of the Ritual Practices Committee, who is sponsoring the oneg in honor of his mother's yortzeit coming up. Skip Soskin in honor of his mother, Lee Soskin. The Kiddush can be found on page 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kadsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit Ki hu yom tehila lemikroe kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim ki vanu becharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim V'shabbat kashecha b'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh hashabbat. Amen.
And Skip, can you share some memories with us?
Well, to start with, she was 97. That should just about cover it. She was born in the Roaring '20s, came of age in the Great Depression, went to high school in World War II. That's enough for 3 people right there. Raised 2 boys and 1 father. You know what that means. If you ask her, she would like to be remembered as a cook and a baker. And I always said, and I still say, and she's gone, and I still would say it, she can make a better dinner right now with whatever's in the pantry than you can spending all day figuring it out. She was amazing. But more amazing than that, perhaps, at 85, she had a stroke. Never mind, it was in Turkey. She was traveling with her boyfriend. Came back, and she lost the use of her right hand and arm and her left leg. Right hand and right leg. So she learned to write her name left-handed. 85. But more important and even more Jewish, she learned how to use chopsticks left-handed. She was a proponent of tough love, as they were in those days. But she was always there to support us. And Allison, I know, and maybe Jerry, and maybe Eric has met her on occasion. So she's been here. All her grandchildren were, not all, that's not true, 3 out of 4 were bar and bat mitzvah here. And she was here for various and sundry other reasons as well. And so that's a heck of a life, 97 years. And through some scheduling difficulties, her real yard site is the 20th. But I'm here tonight, so there you go.
Thank you so much. Um, Let us read together at the top of page 124. 124. We enter the sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built this synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to live lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. And so, let us lift our hearts with L'chadoti. It is a mystical, sacred poem to the Sabbath, envisioning her as a bride. It begins on page 138. We chant the first, second, fifth, and final verses of this poem. L'chadoti, likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla shamor v'zachor bedibor echad hishmi'anu el hamichad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem ultiferet belitila l'chadodi likra kala penei Shabbat nekabela l'chadodi likra kala penei Shabbat nekabela likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki hi mekor haveracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh b'machshava techila l'chadodi likra kala penei Shabbat nekabela l'chadodi likra kala penei Shabbat nekabela hitoreri kiva orech kumi uri shir daberi kevod Adonai laich nigla l'chadodi likra kala penei Shabbat nekabela l'chadodi likra kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Please rise in body or spirit and face our entrance to our sanctuary. Bo'oi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'tzala toch emunei am segula bo'oi chala l'chadodi likra kala penei Shabbat nekabela l'chadodi likra kala penei Shabbat nekabela. We continue in English on page 145. That's 145. Please join with me. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days, lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. And so it is true that one of the downsides of going to streaming rather than being on Zoom is that it is feels less significant to try to count people who are watching us, and in no way, we have one person, still don't have a minion. And we do need 10 adult Jews in order to have a minion, or at least 9. You can count a Torah for one person, not more than one person.
We have 9.
You and Eric and the rest of us are not. Oh, yeah. Not the kids.
We do.
Add the kids to.
I love every person in this room. And I just need to repeat that you need 10 Jews to make a minion. Okay, so we are going to continue with Ahavat Olam, and it is on page 150. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, b'shochbeinu v'kumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha, le'olam va'ed. Ki chem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla, ve'avatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. If it is your custom to rise for the Shema, which begins on page 152, please do so at this time. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Malchuto Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. We continue the Shema on page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'leftecha v'derech u'shopecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam leot ayadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem Emet. We continue with Micha Mocha, which can be found on page 158. Micha Mocha Balim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nedar Bakodesh, Norati Lodo Sefele, Norati Lodo Sefele, Malchutecha Rahu Vanecha, Bokeh Ayam Lifnei Moshe Miriam, Zeheli Anu Ve'amru, Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed, Micha Mocha Balim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nedar Bakodesh, Norati Lodo Sefele, Norati Lodo Sefele, V'ne'emar Kifad Adonai et Yaakov, Ugalo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael, Micha Mocha Balim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nedar Bakodesh, Norati Lodo Sefele, Norati Lodo Sefele. Okay, Miriam's song is on page 646. That's 646. And please feel free to pass out some tambourines. Because it doesn't matter how many people are in here, we can make even more noise when we are people. If you are in the back, please come forward to get your music maker. Because there's one drum in the back. Oh, you took 2 drums. You could have shared with your brother, with your sibling. All right. Okay. Now that we all have an instrument, 646 in honor of Ezra. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which sang our history. With every thread and every strand she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she dances towards the light. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. As Miriam stood upon the shores and gazed across the seas, the wonder of this miracle she soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with an outstretched hand, and we would pass to freedom and march to the promised land. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice in song, she sang with praise and might. We've just lived through a miracle, we're going to dance tonight. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Thank you all for joining with me. We continue with Hashkivenu. Let us read together in the middle of page 161. Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapurei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Let us rejoice in how amazing it is that we can get tied up in our jewelry, and also what a blessed day Shabbat is on page 162. Let's try the bottom one, because we don't do that often. Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Mikadeshe, Mikadeshe Shavi Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Kulam yisbehu v'itagnu mituvecha, v'hashvi ratzita bo v'kidashto. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Chemnad yamim otokarata, zecher lema'aseh v'reshit. Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Okay, we are going to have a silent Amidah. We begin on page 164 with the words on the page or the words in your heart. Our Amidah ends on page 180. Please rise in body or spirit for the Amidah. Ose shalom bimruma, yase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yase shalom, yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom, yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. When you feel complete in your prayer, you may be seated. Monday is Veterans Day, and therefore the office will be closed and I will not be working. And in honor of Veterans Day, I'm going to read a prayer from Alden Sullivan, who truly is my favorite modern liturgist. So this is a Veterans Day prayer. God of compassion, God of dignity and strength, watch over the veterans of the United States in recognition of their loyal service to our nation. Bless them with wholeness and love. Shelter them. Heal their wounds. Comfort their hearts. Grant them peace. God of justice and truth, rock of our lives, bless our veterans, these men and women of courage and valor, with a deep and abiding understanding of our profound gratitude. Protect them and their families from loneliness and want. Grant them lives of joy and bounty. May their dedication and honor be remembered as a blessing from generation to generation. Blessed are you, protector and redeemer, our shield and our stronghold. With our hearts cracked open to the soul of the universe, we now offer prayers of healing. Our Mishibarach prayer is for those in our lives who suffer from illness of body or illness of spirit. The Mishibarach prayer holds space for healing and acceptance to flow through us to those who need it. I will first read the names of those whom we know are in need of healing this week, and then open it up for additional names. We pray for Delbert Poole, Joyce Salinas, Marvin Lazarus, Svetlana Lazovic, Doug McCracken, Harma Wilcox, Fartak Chang, Elaine Kaufman, Steve Corman, Linda Leichman-Keldron, Donna Kennedy, Samantha Shalush, Jason Brooks, Jean-Pierre Shalush, Stacy Roberts-Orr, Sol Saad, Harriet Lavietes, and Tom Miller. Are there others whom we are praying for this week?
Peter Parker.
Thank you.
Marleo.
Thank you. The Mishibarach can be found on page 371 in our Seder Reim. Mishibarach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body Spirit, and let us say, Amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone. We go back and forth about whether or not on high holidays or any other day to include the prayer for our country in our services. And I did choose to obviously add a prayer for veterans. There are many presidential elections that this week have reminded me of. First and foremost, the first time a woman, an extremely qualified woman, was not chosen to be president in favor of our current president-elect, when I was in rabbinical school, and one of our beloved professors reminded us that Jews always pray for the government. They always pray, regardless of who is in charge, for the government, because as an extreme minority, we know that without rule of law, we are the most vulnerable. And indeed, even with the rule of law, as we have seen in Amsterdam, we are the most vulnerable. I'm also reminded of when my political understanding came into being when I was in 5th grade in 1988. And that was the election that really told me that I was never going to be a politician or work in politics. Because I was very excited throughout the campaign and was looking forward to attending the first Passover Seder at the White House, which did not occur. But if it had occurred, it would have been presided over by my mom's first cousin, because Kitty Dukakis is my mom's first cousin. And so as a, precocious 5th grader, I was one of the kids that stood up for a debate in my class, and unlike any other 5th grader, had been hanging out at campaign offices throughout and picked up the policy papers that were then available because the internet did not exist at that time, and so everything was in paper form, and had some words of wisdom, or at least some comprehensive something to say, as opposed to just what I had heard in an ad. And so the kids in my class listened very carefully to the two sides of the debate, and then decided that though the Democrats had spoken eloquently, they were still voting in favor of the other guy, because that's how their parents were voting. So it really didn't matter what we said. And in the same vein, if you've there's a documentary on Netflix that I'm not remembering the name of that points out how important the '88 campaign was in changing how we speak to one another on a national level, because that is when the first political ads that were just about tearing someone down and not about explaining anyone's policy position began. And that idea that vitriol and perception are more important than civil dialogue has steadily increased in our body politic, both here in the United States and globally. So I really, it's hard to have someone who is, I was in 5th grade, right? So to have someone who you have been looking up to every time your family goes on vacation, to see the rest of my mom's family, because all of her first cousins lived on the East Coast, And just the total brutality of that experience really made me realize that it doesn't, why I gave up on people for a while. And I was much more interested in animals than people, because they give you back your love, and they are in need of our love, and it made perfect sense in my mind. So there's nothing new that I can say about politics, and there are plenty of other people who are much more engaged in politics to talk to you about it. But what I can say is that we can't give up on ourselves or on our country, regardless of who wins an election. We can't give up on democracy. And then the other thing that's really interesting to me is that we don't actually know the official results of any election right now, because here in California, we all automatically receive mail-in ballots. A lot of mail-in ballots are still being counted across the country. And for us in particular, we don't know who is going to be on the city council. So we should be paying attention. There's a reason that I added the Alameda County election tally results page in the TI Times this week, because we should know who our elected officials are, and we have much more of an impact on a local level than any other level. But then why come together in this space? It's not because we all have the same politics, and it's not even that we all have the same spirituality, but that we are the same people. And I think that there's so much about being Jewish that is unique, and choosing the Jewish people, bless you, is extremely, profoundly unique. And as we have seen, both here in the United States and in around the world, not an easy thing to choose. And but particularly us here in a Reformed community, we're not bound by faith. There's no creed that you have to agree to be a Jew. We here particularly are not fully bound by halakha. So even our outward actions are not going to be the same in our community. But we are Am Yisrael, the people of Israel, and we are so it's not just the people of Israel, but the people who choose to struggle with the divine. And that we are the ones who choose this wisdom tradition to help us see our way forward. People often wonder about my perspective on the Bible, and it also goes back to all of these times of women not being able to break the ultimate glass ceiling, because the reality of misogyny in our lives, not just in politics, but in cultural generally, and in all of civilization, is bound up in all of our stories as well. The story that is bound in the Bible, the story that has made it through history up until modern times, has always been the story of men. And that the vast majority of what women have ever been doing at any point in time is on the margins and barely understood, not nearly as well understood as what men were doing with themselves. And so even though Sarai also had her name changed and was also a leader of our people, as well as all of our foremothers, our Bible stories follow the men of our tradition. And so, being a female rabbi, I had to confront my own inner misogyny that in rabbinical school that just accepted that on face value and never questioned that we were trying to live into a man's story, all of us, regardless of our gender identity. And that's not to say that I don't find deep emotional resonance in both the Bible and our history of commentary on it, but that I will always be a person that brings a feminist perspective because I need to bring my whole self into conversation with our tradition. And so just as much as I love our mystical tradition and can lean into the emanations of the divine, I just recognize the ways in which our ancestors got things wrong and need a reform in order for us to live more fully into the truths that we have been seeking through all of our generations. So I do not give up on women's leadership either. I mean, the vast majority of our leaders currently here in our community are female. So I know it is possible, and I know that it will come one day, both for our country and in our secular world more largely. But that we are at a crossroads where we need to figure out how to hold this space more meaningfully and more wholly, welcoming, and helping people to make this part of their weekly ritual. Not making space for communal Shabbat is a way to heal the tearing of our souls from all that is happening in the world, and living into ourselves more deeply. That if we just continue to go or use other secular means of distracting ourselves from the wider world, that we don't allow our souls time for reflection and depth. And that the depth that is calling to us is held more strongly in community. I didn't skip prayers today because out of retribution, but out of honoring the sacredness of what it means to hold space together and to recognize what is being left out when our fellow Jews choose not to join us, that we can't make it alone. And so I'm not sure how we move forward with our weekly prayer services. It's very clear to me that it is not appealing in its current form to more people. So we need to work together to create different opportunities for people that might appeal to them more, maybe at different times. I don't know. But I am looking forward to finding what brings people together because we're hurting and we need one another. So I am committed to continue doing that, and I know it's also just an exhausting week, and it's a hard thing to get out after such an exhausting week, a heartbreaking week. I am so grateful that that Israel exists, and that though we couldn't stop the pogrom in Amsterdam, there were immediately flights that were that El Al Airlines sent to Amsterdam to get the Israelis who were in the city for a soccer game, so that they could fly to safety. It just makes it that much more painful to exist with the vitriol against us here in the United States, where we're being bashed as Zionists. You're okay if you're Jewish, if you're not Zionist, all this nonsense that goes on around us. And it just, it's all the more reason that we need to sort out how to hold space for one another in a meaningful way that will help us all withstand the headwinds that we are facing. Shabbat Shalom. So, may I call on someone? I did write out announcements today. Allison, would you like to read them?
I think I'm the only board member here, so.
You are, but in all honesty, any congregant could read them. They're underneath the table, yeah.
Shabbat Shalom. There is no religious school this weekend due to the Veterans Day holiday. This Sunday, a new Jewish peer support group is forming on Zoom, moderated by Sarah Fisher Sanford, LCSW. There is a link to register and receive the Zoom link in this week's TI Times, on our website and on our Facebook page. The Board of Directors is having their annual retreat this Sunday. Please fill out the High Holy Day survey. The link is in the TI Times. The High Holy Day Committee is going to be meeting too to go over the holidays, and your feedback would be good. Consider volunteering for the Holiday Fest, which is next weekend, November 17th, beginning at 10 a.m. And be sure to get there early if you want to buy Skip's Jam. It will sell out. Our book club is reading Wandering Stars by Tommy Orange. The discussion will be Monday, November 18th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. And please join us on November 22nd and 23rd to celebrate Naomi Finch's bat mitzvah. As a reminder, we will not be hosting Shabbat service on November 29th due to Thanksgiving. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you, Allison, both for being our Board of Directors representative and because she's also on the Ritual Practices Committee, our greeter today. Thank you again, Skip Soskin, for hosting our ONEG, and thank you, Eric Strimling, for being our AV monitor today. We will conclude with Aleinu on page 586. That's 586. We read the traditional first paragraph and then skip to the end, a couple of pages later. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tekid l'yotzer b'reshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goraleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'nehemar, v'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, vayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. You may be seated. So if I was going to continue with that we aren't doing any prayers that need a minion, I would not do the next part, but I am in the first year of mourning for my father, so I'm going to say that I don't care that we don't have a minion, and we are going to do the Mourner's Kaddish. Is there anyone whom we are remembering who passed in the last 30 days? Thank you. In the last year, we are remembering Lee Soskin, Henry Saunders McCoy Jr., Karen Ogerzalek, Lynn Sung Shostak, Linda Minster, Bruce King, Karen Bell, Phyllis First, Kenneth Kaufman, Marshall Minster, Mark Klein, Dick Levine, Barbara Choate, Carol Foreman, Scarlett Lehman, and Brian James Newberg. The yard sites for this week are Emma Soskin, Linda Guest-King, Norman Rabinovitz, William Regent, Zohar Benesty, Manya Lucille Schaff, Herbert Altschuler, William Lane McVicker, Joseph Harosh, Jack Bird, and Alfred Weiss. Are there other yard sites that we are remembering? The mourner's cottage can be found on page 598. If you are in a time of mourning or observing a yard site, please rise. If it is your custom to rise for those who do not have someone to say the Kaddish, please do so at this time. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma Divrach Hirutei V'yamlich Malchutei V'chayechon Uvyomechon Uvchaye Dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Uvizman Kariv V'imru Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Ulalmei Almaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei Dekudesha B'richu Le'ela Mincho Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechamata Da'amiram Be'alma V'imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'imramav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. You may be seated. We will conclude tonight with Ein Keloheinu on page 626. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemolkeinu, Ein Kmoshienu, Mi Keloheinu, Mi Chadonenu, Mi Chemolkeinu, Mi Chmoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Yes, dear. Wonderful.
Oh, yeah, I'm very confused. We start and then we do.
I got some lipstick on you.
Hey, Ezra or Jack, could you carry the Kiddush cup into the kitchen
Okay.
for me, please?
Yeah.
I can help.
Thank you. What is your shirt? And how did the Monster Dash go?
Took last year's shirt.
Oh, that's last year. But you had another one this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how did it go?
Oh, okay, which is almost
Okay.
the same, so I think